Okay, we're going to go over your homework first. If you would please get that out, and I want to show you how you should be doing this, okay? So first you need to read your question. A man that is homozygous for type A blood. So you have a IA, and all I want you to put in your box is an A and an A. Okay? You're going to have those right above your box. Then a woman who is heterozygous for B blood type, and it shows you what it is. So I want you to put a B down there for her. And then I want you to put a little I down there for him. Okay, remember, or for her. And remember, I told you to ignore the capital I. So you're going to just put a little lowercase I right there for her other one. Okay? Then when you're going to write this out, you're going to have a B, a B, a I, and a I. Okay? Then all you're going to do is look at your question. What percentage of offspring will have blood type A? So your choices, remember, if it's just an A, then you have 50% over here. Okay? And what fraction will have AB blood type? You have 2 out of 4. So that will reduce down to 1/2. Okay? Simple enough. The hardest part is realizing to ignore the capital I's and just put the A's and the B's. Okay, your next one. A woman with AB blood type marries a man with O blood type. Okay, why did they not tell you what their blood types were? The only reason is because AB blood type, there's only one option. And for O blood type, there's only one option. So you know what you're crossing. You're going to cross the A and a B with a little I, little I. Okay? Cross those over. And what percent of offspring will have AB blood type? Will any of the offspring have AB blood type? No, so 0%. And a fraction of the offspring will have blood type A. Okay, A is the AI, so right here. And so what fraction? You have 2 out of 4, which we just did, which is 1/2. Okay? This should be getting easier for you. That's why I'm going quicker. And the third question on your homework, this is the last one I'm going to do for you. A heterozygous for blood type A is crossed with a woman who is homozygous for blood type B. Homozygous means that she has the same on each, so it's a B and a B. And it shows you that right there. Okay, cross them, A and B and I, A and B and I. Okay, so what percent will have blood type A? Do you have any A's in here? No, you don't. So 0%. Okay, what fraction will have B blood type? Okay, the only B blood types are right here, and so again your fraction will be 1/2 on that one. Okay? Now if you'll get out your notes, we're going to cover one more thing with genetics called pedigrees. Not like the dog food, something completely different, but it's on the right track. You've heard of a pedigree dog. It's talking that it has a good lineage, has good family. Okay, it's purebred. So we're going to talk about how to read a pedigree. Ignore your notes completely, your paper right now. We're going to go over your paper at the very end. So right now, I want you to just listen to me and look at the screen. The whole purpose of a pedigree is to show relationships between the parents and children, and it's really good for tracing down genetics and diseases, which we'll get to later. But for right now, you're just looking at basically it's a family tree. Okay, pedigree equals family tree, and you've seen this hopefully before somewhere. Something you may not have noticed on a family tree before is these letters over here on the corner. P means a parental generation. Okay. And the F's are on your next slide. F's mean a filial generation. And this is how you spell that later on, I'll tell you. Basically, it means relating to sons and daughters. So if these are the parents, those are your sons and daughters and grandchildren, okay? And it will be labeled F1, F2, F3, etc. All right, if you see a horizontal line, okay, you know horizontal, that means between that's very important, between the organisms means that they have mated, okay? Between them, not above them. So between and between. All of those ones have mated. If you see that they are branched from and a vertical line coming down from them, sorry, that's my phone. If you see a vertical line coming down from them, that means that they are children, okay? So vertical line coming down and branching, those are children. Vertical line down and branching, those are all children, okay? Now we have phenotypes of the parents and children to determine what the genotypes of the animals of the pedigree are. So we use what they look like to determine what their genes are. If that's exactly what I just told you in a more complicated way. You use what they look like to determine what their genes are. So the first thing, you're always going to have a key. It's always going to tell you what the key is. The first thing you need to look at is their phenotypes. Okay, you have gray and white fur. And then you're going to look at and see that the white fur is little g, which means you can label everything in your chart with the white fur little g, which means this little guy down here is a little g. Okay? Now I want you to go ahead and look at the next grouping. Okay, if you look at the next grouping, you have a white little g coming from this parent, correct? So I had to get one from over here. The other little g had to come from the other parent. So you know this guy has at least one little g. But his phenotype is gray, which means that he has one big G too. Okay, I know I went a little bit quick on that, okay? If this is the mom, guess what? She can only give a little g. So these babies right here can only have a little g, or can have. But since they're gray, they need a big G too. So you have a big G and a big G. Let's see how that works. Okay. I'll go a little bit slower when we get to when you're filling out this on your own. I just wanted you to follow my process on here first. Okay, this is a bunch of different Punnett squares that you can do to, if you're not quite sure about the parents, you can put one on one side and see what the outcome is. I like to look at the actual family tree and go from there instead, okay? And you can see what the outcome could be if you're having issues. We'll go over that a different time. Okay, so now you can use what you know from the Punnett squares to determine the genotypes of the numbered gray rabbits, okay? And I already showed you how to do a couple of those, and I want to do them together with you when you're actually filling out your own paper. So I'm going to go ahead and skip through this. There's another thing that you're going to see is boxes and circles instead of pictures. Boys are boxes, okay? Boys are boxes. And when you ever see a female on a pedigree and it doesn't have an actual picture, females are circles. Okay? So boys are boxes and females are circles. So if you look at your notes, I went ahead and filled this out. Sorry about the baby crying. I went ahead and filled this out for you. If you can pause the video and copy this down, you can do it on your own too if you don't have time because you already know how to do both of those. Okay? Next thing to copy down is the second process of looking at the Punnett squares, filling those out, filling out the answers. Okay? One important note is if it's like this, it means that it is the homozygous recessive, and it is a homozygous recessive phenotype. Okay? It's the recessive phenotype. That's a G. Alright, here's what I wanted you to get to the most. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through this. We already did this a little bit on before, but I want you to realize about, hold on, let me change those down here. I need to copy those and paste them. So, you already know what the white ones are. Oops. Duplicate. So all the white ones you can go ahead and label that are little g's, okay? So number 1 is little g, you see where the numbers are. And then you have a little g on number 4. Okay? So, now how do we figure out what the other ones are? We already told you that this little g had to come from mom, okay? And that little g had to come from dad. So that means dad has at least one little g. But he's gray, so he has to have one big G. So down here, you can label number 2. And I want you to label it big G, little g. Okay? Then you're looking at rabbit number 3. Can we determine what rabbit number 3 is? Yes, we can. Guess why? Because this one had to give a little g to all of these guys. That's the only option that she had to give. So that means that this one had to do what? If all these are gray, there's no whites. That means that all of these are big G, little g's. Okay? Because they're gray. But the little g came from the mom, so the dad had to be what? Because he can only give a big G. Okay? So for number 3, you have a big G. Then you have number 4 you've already done because it's white. Number 5 over here, pretty simple. It's gray. Okay, so it has to have a big G. And then I got one of these from the mom. Okay? Then right here, I had to get a little g from the mom, but it's gray. Okay, you see how that works? So for number 5, you have a big G, little g, and for number 6, you have a big G, little g. 5 and 6. Okay? And then for number 7, this one is a mate of the other one. They ended up having a white baby. White baby is little g. Okay? So one little g had to come from this little g. Can you track my arrows? And one little g had to come from that one. But that one's gray, so it has a big G. But the little g had to come from there, so you have a big G, little g as well. Okay. I know I went fast through that, guys. But you're about to do a bunch of practices to help you out. And if you need help on those practices, you can refer back to this PowerPoint and see what I'm talking about, or at least somebody else in the class kind of understood what I was doing. So if you can ask a friend when you're going through this and try to explain it to your friend, because the more you can explain it, the more you understand it. Okay? Good luck, guys, and I'll see y'all in January still, so I'll send another video for next week too. Bye.